Here we go, live on Facebook.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Naked Truths Show, canine conversations as they should be, brought to you by Naked Dog Raw Food, which you can find in stockists up and down the UK, and many of them actually deliver straight to your door as well, so you don't even need to leave your home these days to experience naked dog food feeding with your dog. So first of all, before we head into our very exciting conversation with a very exciting guest, Dr. Nick Thompson is waiting in the wings. And I want to just remind everyone that there is a chance for you to win a whole year's supply of naked dog for your dog. So we're not going to deliver it all in one go, but we will deliver it at the appropriate times to make sure that your dog has it throughout the year. And there's a chance for you to win this until the end of February. If you head to our Instagram page, which I'm going to show you here on my screen, and this post that says win, the yellow one in the middle, let me post. There we are, click on it for you. If you follow the instructions on the post, you can enter yourself into the competition. What you need to do is follow us, like the actual post, and also tag a friend in the comments. We've had lots of people that have done 2 out of 3, and I know that some famous singers say 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but you're not going to win the competition if you don't do them all. So yeah, please head over to our Instagram, and without further ado, I'm going to bring Nick on. Hi Nick.
Hi, I think it was Meatloaf, wasn't it? Who said 2 out of 3 ain't bad? Yeah.
How appropriate is that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, brilliant. Okay, so tonight's episode is actually all about canine cancers, the truth about canine cancers. Really, in the naked dog world, we are big fans of natural dog care too, and diet is part of that, and there are lots of things to consider in natural dog care as well as diet. Really, often the diet is kind of the door opening really to understand about natural dog care. And if you're faced with a diagnosis of your dog, something as scary as it can be, that your dog has cancer, it's often very, very useful to have in the back of your mind talks like this, where we have discussed possible alternative, other ways, complementary ways of looking at the cancer diagnosis with brilliant vets like Nick, so you know the information is going to be exactly what you needed to hear. And before we go any further as well, I actually want to dedicate this whole show to my wonderful friend Emma and her best furry friend Suki, who unfortunately has been diagnosed with a brain tumour. So we love you Emma, and this is dedicated to you and Suki, who I think, Nick, actually was one of your clients as well. I'm pretty sure she had a consultation with you, didn't she?
Really? Emma and Suki? When was that, do you think?
Emma Golding-Bosworth.
God.
So it would have been in January time. I'm pretty sure she did. So you have so many clients now. She was talking to you about a wonderful product actually called CV247.
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 Okay.
Which is a natural cancer care product.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of just a little bit sad that I can't remember her, Suki. I'm not sure. Maybe I just had a little chat, or because if I had a consultation, I would know, because we will have spoken for an hour and a half, and so I would have very much spoken to her. Although actually, no. It does ring a bell, and I do remember her. Yes, he said, because I haven't seen her and I haven't seen Suki in the flesh. It was like not ping. It doesn't come to mind, but yeah, absolutely. She's Reading Way or something like that.
Absolutely, that is where she lives. There we are.
I've got her. I've got her. Right. Okay. Good. And we were talking about CV2. We're talking about a number of things actually, because when you're actually presented with the diagnosis of cancer, there's a number of things to do. There's a number of things that you should do, but there's another things that you should stop doing, and that's really, really important. But I was going to just, if you don't mind, I was just going to say, what is the best time to start treating cancer was the first question that came to my mind this morning. And the answer to start treating cancer is how you feed the bitch of the pup that you're going to buy in order to then raise, and then, you know, if you're unlucky, then you know that dog may get cancer when they're a wee bit older. So I was just wanting to say, just put a plug in for feeding raw food from the very earliest of moment. In my opinion, the very best, the very cleanest, the very best grass-fed, wherever possible, or organic, wherever possible, natural raw food, if at all possible, would be fantastic. Yeah, that is really, for me, is the foundation, the real foundation of cancer treatment. Yeah, treating the disease before it even gets there, making the body so healthy that there's much less fertile soil for the cancer to settle into. Really just wanted to say that before we get into the kind of the nuts and bolts of what you can do. I just wanted to say the time to treat it is years and years and years and years ago. So if your dog is currently healthy right now, now is the time to start optimizing diet, optimizing any supplementations, because once you've got the cancer diagnosis, then a corner has been turned, and
Yes.
it's you're further down the road than you are right now if you haven't got that diagnosis. So today's the day to improve diet and improve health. I think is very much for me would be the take-home message.
Yeah, so don't obviously wait until it happens. Let's
Yeah.
prevent it, you know, really think about it beforehand. So talk to us about why feeding raw in particular is a diet that is more likely to prevent cancers occurring.
Marvelous. It's, guys, we haven't prepared this. It's just that Caroline and I, all we do all day is talk about health and food and you know, cancer and other disease, pancreatitis and what have you. And so even though we haven't prepared it, I have actually got some wording from a blog that I did fairly recently about why I think kibble is so bad for dogs. Okay, and if it's okay, I just want to take you through. It's just about seven points, because I think that if you're feeding an ultra processed food, we know, even the NHS has said, even 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, we're 2021, that feeding an ultra processed food, every, oh, I can't remember the figures, every 10% increase in processed food in the diet has a significant predisposition to cancer, to getting cancer. Okay, there is a direct link. And what do? We clever humans, we feed our dogs, if they're unfortunate, 100% kibble, which is ultra processed food. Okay, you know, so the NHS says, well, if you go from a 10% processed food to 20%, that's not a good thing. And here we are feeding 100%. So, you know, it's a bit of a disaster, in my opinion. And so I just wanted to talk to you about that. Is that okay, Caroline? You're in charge this evening.
Absolutely, as long as people go away with takeaways. I mean, it's interesting what you say about feeding this ultra processed food, because even though we tend to see you know, a kind of a ladder almost in the types of processed foods that are out there, even the ones that are at the very top, they're very low in things like lipid hydration, your essential fatty acids, and the actual moisture hydration, which links in with things like histamine release and all these things that are involved in the inflammatory response. So, you know, even when you're feeding something which you consider hasn't got perhaps the carcinogen nitrates in it that the brightly coloured kibbles might have, you have kibble that's still going to predispose your dog to having, or potentially having, something like a cancer diagnosis later in life. So, I mean, you know, I think sometimes we feel like we're doing the right thing by getting up the ladder, but we never quite get off the processed food ladder.
I think that's a really good point, because what happens is when you get proteins and starches and you cook them together, which is what happens in a kibble, because you can't make a kibble without starch. because that's what holds it together. And you wouldn't make a kibble without protein, because that's part of the nutrition within the kibble. Okay, so you always have those two things together. And what happens when you put those two things together and you take them up to high temperatures, which is what you need to make the kibble cook, you get these things called glycation end products, and they are carcinogenic, similar to some of the elements. You know, there are hundreds of carcinogens in cigarette smoke. Well, it's kind of similar in kibble, in that by forcing this high temperature cooking chemical process, you get these waste products called the glycation end products. And if you speak to the kibble manufacturers, they'll say, well, they are there, but they're only in very low levels. Just as if you speak to some of the cigarette manufacturers, they say, well, there are carcinogens in our cigarettes, but they're only at low levels. And the thing that gets you is that you're having them continually. Yeah, just as people who want to smoke will smoke for years and years and years, and we know how carcinogenic cigarettes are. Well, I think equally, if you're having a kibble which is 99.999% not carcinogenic, you are having that 0.001% carcinogens. And because you're having it every single day, your body is getting needled with this carcinogen every single day of your life, because that's how kibbles are designed to be fed. So that's a worry for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We used to call them AGEs, advanced glycation end products. And there's another one, isn't there? The other set of letters I used to talk about in my workshops was HCAS, heterocyclic amines, which
yes,
again,
same.
Yeah, which if you go on websites about barbecuing meat, you'll find it continuously telling you, do not go over certain temperatures because you'll create HCAs. And then you look at the temperatures of an extruder and you think, interesting. It's like, wow. Yeah.
So you're cooking up carcinogens. That's essentially what you're doing. If you rang up a kibble manufacturer tomorrow morning and say, I hear you're cooking up carcinogens, they would flatly deny it. But they can't, because the chemistry says that when you do get your starch and the protein, you put it together at high temperatures, at the only temperatures that you can produce a standard kibble, then you will, by definition, get these the heterocyclic amines, these glycation end products, and other things that are also found in cigarette smoke. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, of course, feeding something like cold press would reduce that considerably.
It would, and I don't actually know
moisture content that they would need.
Yeah, I don't actually know what temperature, because cold pressed is cold relative to the high temperature that you use kibble, but I don't actually know. Do you know what temperature cold pressed?
Well, the average is it's either going to be 45 to just reduce the enzyme content, or it's going to go up to 90 depending on which manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean they are a lot lower. In fact, it might only be up to 70. Cold press manufacturers are going to be like, it's not that much, but no, I think it's got to be over 45, of course, for the enzymes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to have a better difference, and the essential fatty acids are so vital, really. Yes. Wasn't that in the Helsinki research? They've got the YouTube video about the methylation and the inflammation reducing when you feed raw. Yeah. The proper sort of first raw versus a processed diet study that we've had. I'm sure at the end of that video, they put up a list of data of the different cases over, was it something like 20,000 dogs, or that they got the data from? The figures have eluded me now. There's someone's Facebook on. I don't know if it's yours or mine, Pingy.
Might be mine.
So do you feel really that over the years that you've been a vet, that cancer diagnoses are on the increase?
I think so. And I think the figures, if you look at the figures, the incidence of cancer, they are on the up as well. And there's not, and for me, because we're feeding more and more processed food, but I think we're also exposing our dogs to more and more, we're much more diligent with flea and worm products, and I think we're much more pressured with giving vaccinations sometimes where they're not actually necessary. Whereas in the old days, it was like, oh, where some people would just not go for their vaccine. Whereas nowadays, you get a postcard through to remind you about your vaccination, and there's more pressure to give vaccines. Whereas I'm much more keen on doing titer testing, so that you test the antibodies within the dog so that you can make a decision on whether they need a vaccination, especially for parvo, distemper and hepatitis. And what we do in our practice to reduce the level of wormer, we send people off to people like wormcount.com, for example. What we do is say, right, send them a poo sample and they'll tell you whether the dog has got worms or not. And if you haven't got worms, then you don't need to use one of the the Milba Max, Milba Pros, Drontals of this world. And you can make a decision using that pesticide, that anthelmintic. You can make a decision. And similarly with fleas and ticks, these things are really quite powerful. They're neonicotinoids and other very powerful pesticides. And Jean Dodds, in some of her research, has associated the increase in cancer with this greater use of these type of pesticides. Her work suggests that only 5 to 10% of cancers that we see in our dogs are to do with genetic effects. Okay, and we know that boxers, for example, will get heart disease or they'll get cancers. So there is a genetic, but her work suggests if you look at all dogs, only about 5 or 10% can you attribute to a genetic cause, and everything else is to do with the environment. So you're not going to change your house because of the dog, although some people do. But you're not going to change your house. But what can you do? You can minimize pesticide going onto the dog for fleas and ticks. And most dogs don't have fleas and ticks most of the time. So why do they need those products? You can minimize your wormer because you can do a poo sample off to wormcount.com and then make a decision. You can make a decision about giving the vaccine into the dog by knowing whether the dog actually needs that vaccination. If your car is full of petrol, you don't need to put petrol in it. How do you know? You look at the gauge. You see what I mean? It's really quite simple stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
it's evidence-based medicine, really, the worming. I mean, if there's evidence they've got worms, then we worm.
Then you worm. But if more to the point, if there's evidence that there's no worms, then why would one use a pharmaceutical? We don't take wormers, although you're going to get worms at once or twice in your lifetime. The figure is that 40% of children under the age of 10 have got worms, or will have worms sometime before they are 10 years old. And yet we don't worm children all the time. You notice that? Also, children will get lice. My kids have had it. And yet we don't put bad chemicals on their heads or every month for their entire childhood.
It does seem crazy when you actually apply a bit of logic to it. It does seem crazy, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah. So these are things that people can do at home. You can think about titer testing, do your research, talk to your vet. You can talk to the vet about worm counts and what have you, or you can give worm count a ring and they'll guide you through that. You can, if your dog's not got fleas and ticks, it's pretty obvious. And so, do you need to use that product? So these are really something that you can start doing tomorrow morning.
Absolutely, reducing the toxic load that goes into the dog, and also, if you're feeding a good diet, then you're giving them the best chance to cope with the toxic load that you aren't in control of, like crop spraying. You happen to walk past the field after they've crop sprayed. Your dog is obviously going to be breathing in some of it, as are you probably. But they're lower down, they're lower down to the ground.
Very much so.
Yeah, so we give them the best chance. So if you were talking to someone whose dog had just been diagnosed with cancer. Now, obviously, there are a lot of different types and places in the body that cancer can show up.
Yeah.
Talk to us about some of the cancers that you feel, if caught early enough, you really could make a huge difference to these.
I think that the most important thing, if you feel a lump on your dog that you don't recognize, is that you get that diagnosed as soon as possible, because no vet on the planet can give you a cast iron guarantee what that lump is until it's been identified. And with many lumps, you can just put a needle into it and do a fine needle aspirate, FNA or FNAB, fine needle aspirate biopsy. You drag some of the cells out, put them on a slide, and then the lab will then be able to identify, in most cases, not always, but we'll be able to say this is a benign tumor, and therefore you may not need to do anything about it if it's not very big. Or they'll say this is nasty, and so you'll be able to say, right, let's book in and take it off. I think removing the tumor surgically initially is a good idea. Even the homeopathic community say, if you've got the tumor there, remove it first of all, and then treat the body to help any predisposition to cancer that it had in the first place, obviously. But also, if there are any metastases, then to do anything you can to help the body strengthen. And so we can, if you like, there's a few things that we use at this practice to help the body to make it as resistant to cancer as possible. It's impossible for me to say that I'm not going to say I can cure cancer. If I could, nobody can. Even if you go for chemotherapy, though, nobody will say, yes, we will definitely cure this cancer. All we can do is we can just weaken the cancer as much as possible and strengthen the body as much as possible. Okay, and a lot of conventional medicine is about weakening the cancer, but a lot of what we do is trying to strengthen the body against cancer. Okay, to try and nurture the body against cancer. And so, if you like, we can have a talk about things that we look at.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you like to do that? Okay. There's a few. I can get a few examples. If you want to just have a little chat for 30 seconds, I'll just go and get some examples of some of the options that we've got.
Yeah, hopefully, guys, CV 24/7 is one of them. I'm going to ask Nick about it otherwise if it isn't, because as I mentioned, this is dedicated to my friend Emma and her dog Suki, and she's discovered this CV 24/7, and it is an entirely natural product, which is with vets involved in its creation. And yeah, it's meant to be for canine cancers. I'm just talking about CV 24/7.
CV 247, yeah, great.
7. I'm talking like it's the spa shop.
CV 24/7. Okay, so basically, it's ridiculously.
That's it. I'm so glad you got it. Yeah. Okay.
So, and as you'll see,
so minerals, vitamin C. I actually watched a show. Tyler or Ty, the guy from the US.
Ty Bollinger, yeah.
That's it. And he went over to Asia to study the different approaches that they've actually got to cancer.
Yeah.
It's relatively different to how we deal with it in the West. And high dose vitamin C was on the menu for those people. And it really, even intravenously at some point.
Yeah, I mean, in some of the clinics in Mexico, they're giving intravenous vitamin C. I mean, it's controversial, but that they are giving that, and the beauty of it is probably not going to do any harm. The high dose vitamin C. This is not high dose vitamin C. It's a kind of a posh version of vitamin C. So essentially, what it is, it's a posh version of aspirin. There's some vitamin C in there, there's some copper in there, and there's some manganese in there. Okay, copper and manganese are potentially toxic, but they're at just the right level. And what we found, and there are some studies. If you Google CV 247, you will find that there are some human studies, there are some dog studies, which show that there is it does help to boost the system against cancer. Again, nobody can claim, and I'm not claiming that I cure cancer in the slightest. All right, but if Bluebell had a cancer diagnosis, this is what I would use on her. Okay, so that's really, really good. So definitely have a wee look at CV247, and your vet may stock it. It's you know, all vets in the country can get hold of it. Okay, and if they can't get hold of it, then
prescribed.
beg your pardon?
Veterinary prescribed.
It's a veterinary prescription. Yeah, yeah. So talk to your vet about it, and if you can't find any, there are vets around the country, so you can just put in Google vets who supply CV247, for example. Okay, we supply it, we get through lots of it, and it's very, very useful. And what I find is that with some dogs, if it's too late, doesn't make any difference. With some dogs, it can make really, you know, just, you know, very, very, very stunning and startling differences. But with the great majority, what it does is it really gives a lift to the energy of the dog. And it means that what happens is that at the end of life, rather than going over weeks or months, which is a very depressing scenario, what I find with them is they're good, and maybe substantially longer, maybe not, but what happens is they're good, boom. That's it. And so it makes that decision making, which is agonizing at the end of life, it makes decision making much more clear cut. What commonly happens, I get messages on a Tuesday where people say, oh, we've had to have, you know, Polly or Holly or Wally put to sleep, but they were running around on the beach or on the park or in the moors only 2 days ago. That is a really common CV247 story, which is a wonderful thing to do. Okay, so no miracle. If you want miracles, this is the wrong place to come. But if you want just practical help, CV247 is helpful in many cases. Okay, so there's a couple of other things that we use. Another thing that we use is Coriolis Plus, which is basically quite a simple mixture of medicinal mushrooms. All my clients call it magic mushrooms, but they're medicinal mushrooms. Okay, so containing Ganoderma and turkey tail and Coriolis, and so 5 different mushrooms which help to support the immune system, because it's very, very important to support the immune system when one has a diagnosis of cancer. Okay, you know, talk to your vet. This is a veterinary product. You see the big paw on the front. Coriolis Plus.
Mushrooms for pets.
Yeah,
sorry, Nick. What I was listening to yesterday, a very good friend of mine, Juliet Bryan, is kind of like you for people.
Yeah.
She's fab. We used to run Mind, Body, Spirit shows together many moons ago in Cambridge. Yeah. And anyway, she was talking about the fact that these mushroom spores have been found out in space.
Yes.
How amazing is that?
Yeah.
So they're kind of like intergalactic support for our dogs.
Yeah, they have been. There are spores which can survive in space, and the bloke to read, if mushrooms excite you, and they definitely excite me, the book to read, which you may have not or may not have read, is by Sheldrake.
Our friend.
No, but it's Rupert is the father, but his son, who's Sheldrake, has written this book, and it's called.
I never knew he even had a son. I wondered who would say. We met this Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, didn't we? We went out for tea with him.
Yeah.
In Cambridge. He's that was a funny night, that was. And Dr. Rupert Sheldrake is possibly should have retired a long time ago. He was the guy who wrote Animals That Know When their owners are coming
Owners are coming.
home.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Pioneer of species interconnectivity and telepathy between you and your dog. You know, I mean, how important is that if you get a diagnosis like cancer? You know, being able to really intuitively understand your dog is phenomenal. But yeah, I didn't know that he had a son. I'm
He
excited.
has a son. So there you go. This is a revelation for today. That's the book, guy. If you look on my Instagram feed, you'll find that there's a post for it. I'm not sure whether you can see that with the lights and things. So it's called Entangled
Life. Do you know what? You have promoted this before, and I went to order it, and it wasn't out yet.
Ah, it is now, and I've got it on Audible because I'm running around so much these days that I have it on headphones if I'm walking or in the car or what have you, and he's got a very hypnotic voice. It's a beautiful delivery, and it's actually read by Merlin Sheldrake. So he's you know, he's as clever as his father.
Fantastic.
He's just taking it to a new level, and he's a big fungi fan. So if you're interested in that in any way, even if your dog's fine and you're just interested, it's a great book. It's a game-changing book.
Yeah, they're so interesting, mushrooms.
It's fantastic, isn't it? So last thing, just because we're going to be running out of time.
Tell us about these products.
This is just one example of CV247. This is the CV247 that we use.
Right. Now,
sorry, not CV247, it's CBD.
CBD. I was going to ask you. I was rather hoping you would talk about this.
Okay, so they all begin with C.
Known, isn't it, for cancer? But what isn't well known is which one should I buy and how much do they have and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice that all these things begin with C. C for cancer. Okay, I'm not sure whether. So we got C, CV247, C, Coriolis.
Mushrooms begins.
Coriolis. And CBD. So actually, for adult veterinary surgeons like me, it's really easy because I just remember all three C's. And there are lots and lots of things. That's just a smattering, but that would be the main group of cancer support. Apart from diet, a raw ketogenic diet would be essential. Have a look at Keto Pet Sanctuary for dietary advice, which really good. CBD,
we could. Tell us about CBD, please.
CBD.
So much. Where should they buy it? Because also now, obviously, the VMD have banned it being promoted for dogs in the UK. It's really, I mean, I'm guessing you guys as vets can still give this.
We can, yeah. We can.
Look at some comments while you're talking about CBD.
So let's have a look. Difficult to say.
We are still live.
We are, difficult to say. I think you need. Well, I mean, we do this one. There are various products, and half of them are great and are just simple. It's a CBD. The important thing is, what I would suggest is you start at 1 milligram per kilogram of dog. So if you've got a 10-kilogram dog, you'll need about 10 milligrams of CBD oil per day. A 20-kilogram dog, 20 milligrams, 30-kilogram dog, 30 milligrams per day. Now that can stretch. If you've got that 10-kilo dog, then you can start at 10, and if you and your vet feel that there's benefit, but you need a bit more, you can go to 20. So you can double it to 2 milligrams per kilogram. So and it's, with many of them, it's quite difficult to work out how many milligrams per drop of the CBD, but with a bit of maths and a bit of cunning and a bit of Google, you will work it out. Okay. And if in doubt, talk to your vet about it. They will be able to work it out because they do that kind of stuff. So that would be 3. Sorry, there's a machine that's just come. Can you hear that?
I thought it was the cleaning lady.
It does sound like cleaning. It's not. It's I'm pleased to say it's wood chips going into a solid wood boiler to heat the whole place. Yeah, we're running on wood chips, which is very eco-friendly, but a bit noisy. So there you go. So just talk to your vet about the 3 C's: CBD, Coriolis Plus, and CV247. And if you're having difficulty, you can contact us at Holistic Vet. My email is Nick Thompson. Would you be able to write this on the thingy below or something?
Yeah. In
Nick
fact,
Thompson at holisticvet.co.uk. And I'm not the only person in the country who stocks this stuff. There's a lot of fantastic vets who do stock lots of amazing products. But if you're having problems, then please do let me know. Nick Thompson at holisticvet.co.uk. All on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put it on the bottom of the comments. We've had quite a few comments, lots of people saying hello, lots of people we know, because we can see them on the Zoom. So that's why I rudely looked down. But we have had a comment from Irene, who's asked a question I know the answer to. I don't know whether you will, Nick, as well. But she's talking about this new type of extruding and making kibble that they have at GA, which of course is Golden Egg is a place where they make most of the kibble in the UK and probably ships around the world. And it's called fresh trojan. Well, it's just a name put together, isn't it? Fresh trojan, they're calling it, where they're in a sense promoting the fact that they're putting fresh meat in the extruder. Now, I've had a conversation with GA about this very recently, or since Christmas anyway.
Yeah.
And what this is, the way they described it is that it's a little bit like the meat that you get when you go to the Chinese and order shredded duck.
Okay.
So it's shredded up,
right.
Fresh meat that has been prepared and demoistured, because they couldn't put that much moisture in an extruder and end up with a product that would be the moisture content that's allowed to go on sale and would be deemed low enough that the sterilization would. So that's Irene's answer. It's still not enough moisture, and you still would be missing all the lipid hydration, all the omegas, which are pivotal for inflammation and cancers.
It is, and also it goes through an extruder and therefore creates kibble. So it's like saying, oh, tobacco leaves, have medicinal properties, but then you stick them in a cigarette and smoke them. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, you're missing the point altogether. Yeah, fresh extrusion. And also it means that if they've got this whole new process, what have they been doing previously for every other kibble? And GA make most of the kibbles for most companies in this country, apart from the big boys. And so therefore they haven't been using fresh meat, and what they use is powdered meal from goodness knows where around the country.
India, I think, probably.
Well, I didn't want to be derogatory to any one given company, but any given country.
You I mean, it's not their fault. That's what they sell. It's just that's where a lot of the rendering plants are in the world.
Basically, you get carcasses, you boil them down, you get this hideous soup. You get rid of all the moisture, and you get left with a powder, and that's called meat meal. And you stick it in a container, and you send it off to the UK to be used for kibble. Yeah, it's quite a cheap product, and you can make kibble, which you can flog for very high value.
Yeah, I just think that we have got so far down the line, it's almost ingrained in us, to coin the brain, to feed this ready-made food, that the thought of something that's this ready-made food, it's a little bit like what I was saying before about the ladder, that's a better version. It can appear attractive to those of us who aren't ready. But don't forget that if raw terrifies you, raw is good because it's real food. As I keep saying, it's not some weird other way of feeding that's come along. It's real food. And if raw terrifies you, then feed real food in its cooked form. You've got loads of brands now that are doing
lightly cooked food is almost as good as raw, and it's a whole lot better than kibble.
The ultimate, raw's the ultimate, because the moisture, the lipid hydration, the bioavailability of all the nutrition is just spot on, which you would lose to a degree with some cooking, but it's still better than going back to processed. So any final thoughts, Nick?
Any final thoughts?
Or just
don't feed kibble.
Yeah.
I should have a t-shirt, shouldn't I say, just don't feed kibble. It's really easy. 3 words. Don't feed kibble. Come
on, Nick, what about tins and white tray? I mean, I see these white tray foods. I mean, they're cooked.
Yep.
It goes in cooked, they're sealed, it's cooked again. This is like kibble in a white tray.
Yeah, but you can't get that on a t-shirt, whereas you can don't feed Kibble quite easily on a t-shirt. It's just processed. And the more you process food, the more you kill, you denature, you confuse the body, confuse the biome. You know, it's really, really simple. Yeah, the more natural and unprocessed the food that you feed your dog, the more you're going to tap into all those pathways that have been made over 45 to 60 million years worth of homework and hard metabolic struggle to get it right. And why not use all that important work to our advantage, rather than saying, I know this formula seems to be the best one, feed this to your dog, Mrs. Jones. You know, what do we know about nutrition? Obviously not very much, because we make kibble and put it into our dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. If you want a final thought.
Final thought is the same as the beginning one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to head off, and next week we will be back with another Naked Truth, Canine Conversations as it should be, here again at 7 p.m. on the Naked Dog page. Now, if you have any questions, if there was anything that you want us to comment on, at the bottom, if you are looking for an alternative complementary holistic vet and you just don't know where to turn because your dog has had a diagnosis and you want some extra support, please do write at the bottom, because at the moment in the UK there is no kind of governing body, if you like. There's no like website where every holistic vet will be listed. They're listed under their modalities. So you're going to find acupuncture vets under acupuncture vet websites. You're going to find herbal vets under the herbalvets.org, I think that is, in the UK, and that's so they're listed under their modalities. And obviously the homeopathic vets have their own website as well, so that's why it can be tough to find a holistic vet, but they are out there. In fact, there's increasing numbers of them, I think.
But there is Cam for animals.
Love Cam. Oh my God, Cam, I'm so sorry. You are new. I'm allowed to have forgotten.
Yeah, you are forgiven. Cam for animals. Have a look at that. That is a bit of a directory of alternatively minded vet practitioners.
So glad you said that. Yeah, absolutely. So that is a growing website with different holistic vets in different modalities. But sometimes looking under these modality websites is quite interesting, even if you're looking under something like canine osteopath or something. You might find that there's a veterinary osteopath up the road to you, and that might be the only complementary therapy he practices. You may not have seen him before or heard of him before. However, he might be pro-raw. So you know, it's interesting to sort of see who's around you that you may not have seen on your radar before.
There's a network, and all these people who think in this way, if they can't offer you something, then they probably know somebody who does, within a stone's throw.
Absolutely. Right, we're gonna say goodbye to the Naked Truth people now, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching, everyone.